to all my flossy friends. Welcome back to my flosstube channel. This is going to be episode number 5. My name is Michelle. I go by Chinook Crafter on social media. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm so happy to be sharing my stitching with you guys today. So, here I am. It is a beautiful sunny day in Alberta. We're in a heat wave. I am struggling, so my coffee is iced today. So, what has been going on with me and my life? It has been a long time since my last film, and that was not intentional. I actually filmed in June. I did. I had a bit of a upper respiratory thing going on, and of course my asthma. Basically, I took a small thing and I decided to like times it by 3 and keep it to myself, not pass it on. So I was pretty sick, like not so sick I had to, had to do anything, but just miserable. And I was feeling better, so I filmed because I was like, I'm committed, I'm sticking to this. And I was like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. And then I was trying to edit it and I was like, dear Lord, woman, why were you like, what was wrong going through your mind? Because I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, that cat meme. And then I was just like, I thought I was getting better, but clearly I was not. The only thing good about that footage was my cats were being so cute and stinking cute during that whole time. But it was not really worthwhile footage. Because I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I'll just like do like a quick little edit when I cough, because I'm not coughing that much. And I was like, some things, like gold star, sweetie, you tried. Moving on. Happy to say I'm feeling a lot better, and just, man, asthma can kick it. All right, so lots been going on because it's been a little while. I have a lot to show you. First things first, I have a fully finished object. All right, there we are. This is a complete new start since the last time I did it. I'm trying to take part on the Colorado Stitchers cross stitch camp that she runs through her shop and Facebook, because I like to try to find a small challenge and things like that to keep me motivated. It gives me a little direction sometimes. And this was on my list to stitch, and the challenge for June was to stitch something from a magazine. So this is from one of the Just Cross Stitch magazines. And it was stinking cute. And it was really cute because I had like a nice little small cut of some sort of even weave that was a perfect color. I just used the DMCs. I did not bother with the overdyes, and it worked out really cute. I did do 2 mistakes, which one mistake, one intentional. I was stitching, this purple is not the right shade of purple. I had 2 different dye lots, or a bobbin that was the wrong in my little bag of whatever color it was. And I realized about a couple letters in that, wait a second, this isn't looking right. And it's a little too dark. But then I was like, you know what? It's okay, because it's still like, the same shade range, just a darker than intended. And it works. I'm okay with it. Yeah. So I worked on that. Yeah, this was pretty much just like a quick little weekend stitch while I was visiting my family. This is going to go for the girls. And there's this little cute little heart print. We were at some garage. When I was visiting my family, it was the Nantons Parade of garage sales, which is like the next small town up. It's like 15, 20 minutes away. So we went there, we're checking out. There's this one, it was in a huge field just off the highway. We almost missed it. And they were pretty much everything was $1. And some things were like a little bit more. That was actually our most successful. It was our first stop, and it was our most successful garage sailing trip of that thing. The girls got a lot of toys, and there was this random bag of fabric for like $1, so I grabbed it. And this was like, I think these are pretty much like Michael's fat quarters, but it worked out perfectly because I just needed things for that. And this purple lace was actually from a Halloween bundle trim I had. And I guess, because it was like a purple green sort of thing, but it worked out really cute. So that was that. Oh, the other change I did. The fart clouds from the skunks, they were charted in the same purple as the letters, but I used the green from the stems because I thought that was funny. I don't know. To me, stinky things are green, not purple. So I went with green. Yeah, so those are the 2 changes. I will talk about This is my first time, like not my first time doing a pillow, but my first time sewing in a trim. I learned a lot. Most of it were new cuss words. But yeah, I think I can do lace trim better the next time I attempt it, but that might be a couple of years from now. But yeah, just a cute little pillow finish. One of the things I really want to do is I want to have dough bowls or like tiered stands throughout the house because I think those are adorable and I love the themed ones. And this one, I believe it was in for like meant to be like a Valentine's sort of themed issue. But to me, this is for my kids. I call them my little stinkers all the time. And I would love to have like, maybe not in their room because I don't trust them, but we have like a little, you go up the stairs, there's like a little recessed archway, so I could do something in there. And right now I have vases of my sea glass I've collected in there, but I could easily put like a little, you know, stand in there and just display some family cutesy themed ones. But yeah, this was my finish, my fully finished. I have 3 other finishes because like I said, it's been a bit and I actually did stuff. So this one is a small. It is a test stitch. Upside down test stitch. Test stitch I did for Cryptic Vibe stitches, and it's the Rosy Maple Moth. Yeah, because they just do like they released Powder Butterflies, which I did the Monarch for, and then they did ones for moths. So I also did a little test stitch, and like these are quick little stitches, like 4 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 5 colors in this one. And they're actually selling them as like little kits and they're super cute and they're really small. And so this is just fun to like stitch up and take some cute photos with. I want to do something with this. It's really cute and like that would also fit in with my girls themes, but we'll see. I also finished Stargazing by Michelle Bendy, which was from last year's X Stitch the Rainbow, the Night Garden with the Threadworks. And this was a really fun stitch. So this fabric was a Kaylee tent stitch ornament cut because I'm obsessed with those cuts, right? And so it's just the perfect little size because like I actually have enough border on it. I don't always do that for myself. And I started it and I like really, my first start was really embarrassingly small and then I just put it away and then I got onto it and it's really fun because she has a bunch of smear crosses on it. Like the ridge of grass at the bottom is all smear crosses and like a back stitching details. So that was really fun. The one thing I noticed, so I was working off my working copy, like just my working copy, right? Like photocopy because I had to, you know, highlight things. And then when I went to start doing things, I noticed like when I actually went and like looked at the color photocopy, because the light purple and the light cream backstitch lines on the black and white photocopy weren't very clear. So then I was like referencing the color copy and the cover photo, and I realized my stitch did not look like hers. And I noticed that the shell color had changed, which I'm totally okay. I think he's totally cute with a little blue shell, right? But then it was charted in blue on my paper copy, but then the model stitch was in green, which happens, right? So I was looking at that, and then I also was so there's that, and then I noticed some of the backstitching lines for the light purple and light cream were like, I just went with what I felt looked nice. So I was like, you know what, I'm having trouble seeing. I like the purple backstitch on the blue flowers and the blue backstitch on the purple flowers. I was like, that works for me. But yeah, no, it was a very fun stitch. Originally when I was stitching the Night Garden, I had an idea I wanted to, because there's 4 patterns from the Night Garden that I want to do. And 3 of them I felt kind of tell the story, and the other one's like the blue flowers, freebie flower one, which, right? So my original idea was to do something to stitch the 3 together. But as I get on with the stitching, I start to think I want to do, like, I like the idea of, because like, I was originally going to maybe like do like a 3-frame sort of thing where they're all just hung together and displayed. But as I was stitching and thinking about this, I was like, I kind of maybe want to do something a bit different. So I'm holding off on that idea of how I want to finish it. Because like I said, I originally had an idea of grouping them together, but now I'm like, maybe I don't want to group them together. And then I'm tempted because I saw on Instagram, somebody was doing a lot of the Under the Sea palette, and they had them displayed all together. And I was like, oh, that looks so cool because they go together and like they use different fabrics, but the floss and the theme ties it together. But I'm like, but I think the Under the Sea one is more of a more cohesive theme than Night Garden in some ways. Like Night Garden, all the ones I want to stitch up, like moons, like that's cohesive, right? But it's not the same as like everyone having like under the sea animals. I'm debating. I'm thinking too hard about it. I know for a fact that it's going to be a long time before I finish it, so why am I worrying about it now? The last finish I had was June's Patreon pattern from Bad Stitched, and it was, I think, called Rainbow Dandelion. I did not iron it. I'm so sorry. I finished it 2 days ago, and I thought I was going to have something else finished, which we're going to circle back to that. And then I was going to bust out my ironing board then and iron the 3 pieces then, because I don't want to, I don't have it, like my ironing is set, like, you know, I have to put it down, I have to do that, like, it's a chore, and I wanted to make it my money's worth, right, my time's worth, and I ended up making a boo-boo, so I didn't get to that. So we'll stretch this out. So yeah, so this is that, right? And I loved this pattern. Amanda actually provided 3 different levels of customization, right? So this dandelion, the rainbow dandelion that's blowing, those little stars, they had another option where they could be more wavy. This rainbow dandelion could also be more traditional white and brown. And this dandelion here could come with a face or without a face. Now, dandelions for me I have 2 girls, right? They are almost 5 and 3.5, right? And they love to pick me dandelion. They love to pick me bouquets. It is just that one childhood thing, right? And they're fairly well trained on what they can and can't pick, because my mom has a very extensive, beautiful garden. And so she's basically like, you can pick the dandelions, you can pick the Johnny jump ups, you can pick like this, but you do not, right? And like they still misstep. And like my mom is never angry or upset about those missteps, but I know it hurts her when my youngest grabbed her poppy out. And like we were right there, but you know those little hands, they're just, and so they love to make these bouquets, and so I get a lot of dandelion bouquets. And so this to me is very much something I stitched thinking of my kids. And I had my oldest pick the customizations, right? Like, do you want this or this, this or that, this or this? So this was all what she wanted. And, oh, and it's on a 14 count of Aida. I dyed myself. It's a bit opalescent. I don't think it's really picking up here. But I want to finish this in a really fun way to really play with the rainbow and like the whimsy, because it's going to hang up in my kids' rooms. Like, sometimes, sorry, I had one finish I thought my kids would love. It was a Flossy Fox one, and like they were like, ew, I hate that. And I was like, this is adorable. What is wrong with you children? But I get what I get. And sometimes they let me put things in the room, and other times they give me these impossible demands of what they want. So the last one, this is the one that prevented me from taking out the iron. If you are following me on Instagram, you saw that I was working quite dedicatedly on Jet X Stitch's Happy Flowers Viscornium. And I had it finished, and I decided to do the back stitch border. So we're going to show the bottom first, because that's okay. So this is on a 32 count piece of gingerbread. And yeah, so yeah, this piece, it's all ready, happy to go. Look how cute and happy this bottom is. Yes, and then like, you know, well, we've talked about me not giving myself borders. I think this is good enough border for sewing up this corner. I don't need more than that. It was a little annoying at the corners for the Viscornium, but it worked. I just used a smaller hoop. That was fine. That's fine. I just used a smaller hoop, right? And a little bit of hand stitching. So yeah, so I had that. It's all ready to go. And then the top one is the one that is more stressful, because it was a perfect piece of 32 count. It was just a little tight on the borders. So this is from Jackson Fabric Sonora, and it's 32 count. And this is the problem with the Jet X Stitch pattern, is that she used 2 different colors, which I really like the effect of the two-tone. But the thing is, if you're doing a two-tone effect like that, they need to be the same count. And did I have so like going through my stash, right? It's like, okay, I don't, like my one option was I could dye 2 pieces of fabric to match, but I was like, I don't really want to. And I knew I had some decent choices in my 32 count, like ornament cuts. It's just like, this one could probably have used a little more margin, but I was like, you know what? it's getting hand sewn together. Like once you do the border and you like, you trim it, like that is more or less the size I'd be cutting it down to. Like, I was rationalizing it. It's an experiment. We'll see what happens, right? So I was working really hard on this and I was getting ready because my goal was to have this iron and back stitch. I could be like, look, I'm going to have a biscornu the next time we talk. And I will have a biscornu the next time we talk. I'm just more frustrated about this biscornu. So I was working on my little back stitch line and I was like, I'm going to hit the, this. I'm not going to have like the one square in front. And I was looking like, I made a counting error, right? This whole section here with the blue outlined red flowers, that all needs to come out. I did it was it one too close or one too far? Anyways, I was off by one stitch where I need to, be with my initial counting, so the whole thing is wrong. And I discovered this last night and I sat with it. Like, I sat with it overnight, like thinking like, okay, like, could I, frog something out, like how, and I was like, no, it's a biscornu, it's supposed to be wonky, like, will it, and for my own sake and sanity, I've got a date with the frog. And I'll probably do it while I'm watching TV because then I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I just sit there with the new seam ripper and go like, Good times, good times. I'm a little sad about that. The only other thing I want to share about this project is I am convinced that these are meant to be like Yoda and Grogu, right? Because when you stitch them, like, do you not see like the little ears and like the little green body with the brown rope? Like, I'm gonna die on that hill. There's baby Yodas and, Yoda and Grogu in this pattern. Yeah. So yeah, that is my tale of woe that I'm going to have to deal with. That's fine. I'll move on from it. So moving on, I did work on some other bigger pieces. Well, I guess that was a new start. That was a new start and it was almost gonna be finished, so in my like pile of organization. All right, bag I made for myself, by the way. Yes, just some people like to show that off. I did some more work on Toonies by these 20 stitches. I'm using a beautiful piece of Kaylee fabric. Yeah, actually, I might use that to finish off something else. I didn't have plans for the top half, but now that I'm looking, I'm like, I maybe have a plan. We'll see. So this is Toonies, and I'm using the called for Brenna nettle. And I think I'm gonna go back in and add some red to the eye. I have a nice Brenna nettle I can use for that too. And yeah, so I'm just using the called for, which is the Belle Island Ore, which is a fantastic variegated grayish black. Sprung Greenhouse, which it's an overdyed white. I got it because that's, that's what you do. And then Pirate Glass, which is this beautiful, fantastic green, which I need more of. My friend Megan actually donated the skein lengths I would need for it because Brenna nettle was sold out, has been sold out every single time I tried to order it at the time, and it was holding me off from starting. Well, that wasn't holding me off, but like, I was just like, I need another green, and she's like, you don't need that much. Like, I'm actually done stitching the green on it, so like, you really don't need that much green for it. This one is mostly black and white. And so she's just like, I have some with me. Here you go. Have a few lengths. Thank you for that donation. It got me finished, the green. Yeah. I kind of want to have that done by the time Heated Rivalry Season 2 premieres. So that's kind of a soft goal, but we'll see. I'm not super fussed on that. Another progress I made was on my birthday start of Our Roots Run Deep by the Wayward Needle. I have it in this beautiful bird-themed Kaylee 10-stitch bag from the sewing shop. It is fantastic. It almost fits my Q-snap, like my big boy Q-snap. And I just, honestly, if I took it off the Q-snap, it'd be fine, but yeah. Take all my stuff out. I'm using most of the called for, well, so far I'm using all the called for flosses. I am missing technically 2, because Gentle Arts is not sending them. So it's a mix of classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. It's this really beautiful palette. Like I said, I'm missing 2 colors. One, I ordered from Mr. Frame, which is in the next Edmonton, St. Albert's, which is basically Edmonton, because they had all the colors I needed. Well, they didn't have all the colors I needed, but they had most of them. And they're like, yeah, okay, like we're missing these 2. Like, do you want us to wait or send what we have? And I was like, send what you have. And they've got one of the 2 colors in, but like these 2 colors luckily don't compromise a major part of the pattern, so I'm okay waiting for them to come in, and I'll probably order some extra fancy flosses at the time to make that $4 shipping worth it. Yeah, and the thing is, the color they're missing, according to my Notion, I own it. I think it's kitted up with a project I haven't started yet, but I need to start. So I'm like, my brain is thinking like, okay, do I go and take that floss and use it here and then put it back? Or do I make sure I have enough for that project and, you know, balancing out? Because I don't want to have multiple half-use skeins with dye lots. You know the stitchy math. But anyways, this is the progress I've made on this since my birthday. And I'm doing this on Mystery 28 Count Lugana by Mystic Fabrics. Ooh, that light is making that variegation gorgeous. Wow. Sorry, that's like the nicest variegation shot I've ever seen of this. Like, I feel like I should be going like, screenshot, right? No, I usually take my thumbnails separately because I don't trust what the algorithm gives me. So of course it's backwards, but I've found the bottom and I'm working my way across the top. This has just been a delightful stitch. Like, there's so many fun things over here that I'm almost trying to like race over there because I want to get that bird. Yeah, but then there's some really fun like blue flowers like coming up right here. And I do want to get the quote done. When I first started stitching this, I was thinking to myself, like, I'll do the quote last. Like, I'll do everything like around it and then go in and fill in the quote. And then I was looking at the counting and the colors and things like that, and I was like, oh, maybe I should get the quote done, because I don't know, like, I have different stitching strategies sometimes, and so something like this one, where there's a couple colors that are like over 1,000 stitches, and then there's other colors that are like less than. What I tend to do is I do a length of the color that's used a lot, and then a length, or like 2 lengths of the colors are used a lot, and then 1 length of the color that's not used as much, to kind of keep it fun and interesting, depending on if that works for like the spacing. So like, I'll do like, you know, a length of the word or like the vines, and then I'll go do like a fun little flower, and then keep going that. I try and do things like that to like balance it out, and that's just what I've been doing on that one. I don't know, that's how I stitch sometimes, is like, you know, vibes. So I worked on that. I also did work on both of my Pixie Pixel cross stitch alongs, because these are big bad boys I'd like to get finished eventually. They're big. So this is the 2023 one, the Natural World. Like I said, I found the bottom. Okay, over here, that's the bottom. I can turn, I'm about to turn the corner, because again, this is what I do. This one's a variegated sulky prime palette. So what I do is I do like a length or 2 on this border, because a chunky border, and then I go do something fun on the inside, and then I go and do a length or 2 on the border, and then I work on something fun on the inside. Yeah, so working on that, I'm getting there. The one thing I'm pausing on is over here, Christy has initials charted with the year, and I'm not against it if it works, but I don't always like to sign my initials and the year on it, and especially for like a big sampler. Like, I don't know, I'm having thoughts. I might, like, when I get there trying to chart it myself, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm thinking about it, because I'd have to be actually good at charting, but we'll see what happens. And then I was working on Beautiful Biomes, because again, same strategy. I also think I found the bottom on this one. This is a band sampler she did. And I'm using a Threadworks, I think it's called Rocky Mountain. It's 10 yard. It was 20 yard skein, so you can tell I'm getting there. And it's this beautiful like dark blue, dark green, dark purple variegated. And I mostly picked it for the name and also that fact it was just dark and complimentary. And I live by the Rocky Mountains. And then I have all these fun flosses I'm dying to use. Because I think once I get the borders done, I'm being so good. I'm getting the border done before I get all these bands filled in. But I feel like it's going to go so fast. And I picked these all, I hit this up at the very beginning, like the very beginning of the stitch along for like themes. Like I think this one I have for like the desert. This one's for like one of the more aquatic, you know, I think this is like the grasslands. I have it all written down, like where they go, right? So I have all these like fun variegateds to like that I picked because I felt the colors represented the biome they'd be representing, and I want to get there. I want to free the floss, as it says. I want this back hanging in all my other fancy flosses, but I gotta finish. Okay, so that was the works. I kind of showed you my new start. I did 2 other new starts. So at the end of May, one of my dearest high school friends got married, and I'm so happy. Like, I'm happy she got married, right? But since right after we finished university, she moved to Toronto, which is halfway across the country from me. So I don't see her in person as much as I would like, because halfway across the country. I meet up with her at Stitch North. Like, she comes and visits. And like she comes and visits Calgary like 1 to 2 times a year, so we get together then, and like we have a little group chat, we talk, right? So when I knew she was like, obviously I've met her fiance a handful of times, like, you know, don't know him as well as I'd like, because, you know, met in Toronto, things, right? Seems like a decent guy. Well, her husband, God, husband. So when, like, you know, they got engaged and things, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, like they're gonna have either a destination wedding or they're gonna get married in Toronto, like, you know, logistically, like, I'm going to this wedding, but it was like the logistics, like, okay, like with my husband, like my partner and my 2 kids, like, like, love you, babe, but they ended up getting married in Canmore, which is like an hour and a bit out of the city for us. Beautiful. And I think it's because, like, I think logistically, like, they have all they're a very international couple. They had like a lot of things, and I think the decision was looking at the guest list and ability to travel. Calgary was like the easiest for a good chunk of their like portion. Like, you know, like his family was gonna have to fly in no matter what, so like, you know, cut that down. Like, you know, she's gonna have friends fly in from, you know, XYZ. So this one, I think they had also like they had a smaller like reception sort of deal in Toronto too for the people that couldn't travel. So I think it was a really good choice. Banff and Canmore are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is like the Rocky Mountains, like Banff National Park. And so they were gonna have like their ceremony outside on Tunnel Mountain, which is a beautiful, like very popular venue for outdoor weddings. And then they were gonna have the reception in Canmore, because Canmore is just outside of Banff, so it can be slightly cheaper. Not significantly, but slightly cheaper. My poor friend, we had flood level rains that weekend. It poured rain. No, we in Calgary, we didn't get to the flood levels. We had like, I think, flood warnings, right? But like when we were in Canmore, like I have never, like I wasn't here for the 2013 floods, but the water was over the pathways. Like there was a couple times in the car, like we were driving through water. It was risky. It was a bit hazardous. So her outdoor wedding section got canceled and they moved inside. Like they had to do a lot of pivoting on the fly, and they handled it with such grace, and it was still a beautiful wedding and ceremony. We had such a great time. Anyway, so the day they got married was actually the Blue Moon, and Julie of Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, or Julie at Kansas City Girl in the Colorado World, had released a pattern to celebrate the Blue Moon, and I was like, this is so cute. Like I think it's called Blue Moon Whimsy. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be a special event for, you know, this pattern is for me, by the way. My friend will not appreciate this cross stitch in the same way that I do. But I was like, this is great. I'm going to a wedding. I'm having like This takes like 5 colors. This is a perfect little travel stitch. Like it's a blue moon, like so fun, right? So I started that, and I have this on this, again, scrap piece of linen I had. It's a little bit on the sheer side, right? And I was working on it. And I also really admire Julie's charting because she used like moon and star symbols in her chart for the colors. I think I have to do some frogging on this one again. I accidentally made one letter a space too far and then counted things off, and then my border wasn't meeting up, you know, as you do. So I just have to go into that one little section and like fix it back. It's not a significant amount of frogging. I caught it early. It's just like, yep. I'm just gonna have like a little frogging pile for like when I'm watching TV. Speaking of watching TV, I started watching the Little House on the Prairie remake. I think I'm on the 3rd episode. I never watched the original TV series. It was not the right timeline for my interest in Little House and my ability to watch TV shows on my own. But I read the books a lot growing up because that was like one of the box sets I got as like a 7 or 8 year old who just read everything. And like, I think it was a Christmas gift, so I tore through the whole thing. Read it again recently. I want to say I read it in like 2020 or 2021 when I was just like stuck at home with like no library access and just going out of my gourd. And I reread it, and I have thoughts and opinions, a lot of thoughts and opinions. I mean, product of its times, lots of context. Like, I would almost want to read this. I have an adult version that was like annotated with like biographical and like geographical and historical information, because I think there is a lot of value in this as a document of its time. You just have to contextualize it appropriately, right? Which I think the show is trying to do by like bringing in some more of those hints. Like, it's not just like, oh yeah, we're selling on the prairies, yay, go us. It's like, oh, this is Swaziland. They might come back. They might not be happy about that. You know, we're not really here legally. Well, is that going to be a problem? It might be a problem, right? Like that little exchange they had, the one scene. So I like how they are trying to interweave the political situations more that Laura, as a writer and a child, glossed over. And also, like, I'm slowly getting through Prairie Fires, which is like a biography of her, and like, again, more context of like just like how rose-colored glasses her book series were. My library only has 1 copy, and like I keep not reading it fast enough on Libby because it's interesting, but it's not. I was in a bit of a reading slump for it, and it was not the spice to kick up the reading slump. But yeah, no, that was just a random side fact. I'm really fascinated by, you know, the reinterpretation of media. Okay, my other new start was I started to work on Darling and Whimsy's, the Quirky Quaker Mythical Creatures. I just want to get, I have a lot of Quirky Quakers, and well, not as many as I want. I just want to get them knocked out because, again, I have an idea for them, and my kids are getting older. So, this is what I got done on Nessie. This is another Kaylee fabric, and I'm using a collection of Night Stalker's Calling, because I used Kraken, which is ironic, for Nessie, and I'm using Boundary Waters for the border, which, again, that was not intentional. I was just looking for watercolors. And I'm thinking about adding in Lichen or Ursula for like the little motifs on the inside, just to keep it like fun. Because this is the one thing I really love about the Quirky Quakers is they are so open to interpretation and like using your fun fabrics and your variegated, because like they're charted in like Nessie was charted in 1 color. Right? Like, and it's a beautiful variegated. It was charted in Gentle Arts Island Blue, and it was stitched on a Picture This Plus, which is variegated, right? And so they're just like, you can go, I've seen some really beautiful ones, like, you know, you'll just use the DMC. Like, I love browsing the Quirky Quaker hashtags or like Deanna's tags, and like, she's so good at reposting her stuff because people are so damn creative with these, because they're that right, like travel stitch, small stitch, good little brain scratcher, but they're so open to color and play. Like, I've seen people like change up the colors and like, you know, I'm gonna make my sheep a black sheep. I'm going to make my unicorn, a goth unicorn. Like, I've seen so many fun ones and I love it. And then some people finish them so creatively, like, because again, they're so, like, they're just so open to creativity, and I just love Deanna's mind, and I want to see what's on her list, which is a joke because, like, she gets so many recommendations for, like, oh, you should do one of these, right? And she goes, it's on the list. I'm like, I know the list is a joke, but, like, I want to see this list. I want to see what's, like, I would love to know what's coming up next. And it's so funny because, like, sometimes, like, she releases things, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. I'm not, you know, I'm not into it. Like, she released the zoo ones, and I thought they were so funny because, like, the giraffe was, like, breaking its neck through, like, the border. I was like, oh, that's so great. Like, I'm not a fan of giraffes. I'm not a fan of zebras. This is great. Okay, sorry, my battery was dying there, so we'll just have to preempt the thing because I don't know where it cut me off. But, like I said, it was zoo animals. I was like, oh, that's so great. Like, I don't have to worry about stitching these. I'm not a fan of these animals. I forgot about my kids. And I can't say no to my little stinkers, and these are such a great stitch for them because they're so small. If I focus my butt off, I can actually get them done in like less than a week. So it's a good, like, quick idea for them. But it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot my kids have interests that aren't my own. Because so far I've been able to mold their interests to be my interests, but we're past that stage of where I can influence them as great. I mean, I still have influence over what they watch and read and, like, do, but it's less influence now if they will actually take to liking it. Yeah, so that's what we're working on. My last new start is, it's called The Shepherd's Home. It was the Free Stitch Friday for July from Primrose Cottage. If you sign up for the newsletter, they release a free pattern like once a month, and then before they sell it. And this is not much yet. It's just the wreath border, but it's going to have like a little house and some sheep. And I wasn't, you know, I saw it and I was like, cute. And then I was like, wait, Christmas in July, and then there's a sheep along for celebrating some birthdays. So I was like, well, actually, like, I do want to do this. I am going to say I'm so bad at math because this is bigger than I thought. Like, this is like palm size, and I thought it was going to be like hand size, and I thought it was going to be more like palm size, like, you know. And again, if I did on a different count, it would be, but it's just a little bit bigger than I thought. I did switch up the floss and the flosses because they use weak star works, which I don't use. So, like, the DMC is fine, but I want to do like a bit of subtle variegation in this. And I have Romy's Creations Camouflage. And this is just, it's a really like subtle green. It's a very good greenery green, if that makes sense. And I'm really happy with that. It's just on an Irish tea-dyed linen because, like, they just did it on like a plain brown. I was like, that fits the vibe, like rustic. And yeah, so I'm just, this is like my work stitch because it's a paper pattern. So I'm just at home with it at work. I also, for Christmas in July, I'm going to do three might be ambitious, but I do want to at least get a start on my Prairie Schooler collection. These are not all the Prairie Schoolers Santas I want to stitch. They're just the ones I have. This was a gift in my advent calendar from my mom because, yeah, I I gave her like my stitchy wish list, so she was like, she had fun with that. So this one's for me, and then these ones would actually be for my mom and my dad because the gardener is my mom and the fisher is my dad. So I want to get those done as a Christmas gift for them. And then have this. I say scrap. It's a fairly generous scrap, but like I think these guys would fit in. I don't necessarily want to stitch all my Prairie Schooler Santas on the same fabric. I feel like I like how they use the same color palette year after year after year with like a couple additions. Like, you know, like obviously the Santa they threw in a yellow, but they keep the red the same. They keep the flesh tones the same. There's a lot of continuity that way, and they use the same fabric for all their model photos. And I've seen on like Instagram and like, you know, flosstube collections, people that stitch every single one, and they're all done on the same fabric, you know, finished in a similar way, and it's very impressive. Like, I really admire that commitment. However, like, this one's from my house, the other one is going to my parents. Like, we're different people, so I want my mom's and dad's to match, but mine's gonna be different. Like, I'm honestly thinking, like, what if I switched his red coat to make him one like the green coat Santas, and or stitch him on like a green fabric? Like, he's very woodsy. He's very natural. am thinking about it. That's the one I'm gonna do last because he's last on my list of priorities. My last little bit is haul in a way. Yeah. So when I didn't go to Stitch North, but my friends did, and I sent some stuff to them to either hand out to other friends or to get done. And one of the things I did was I buy a lot of like vintage kit lots and things like that from like garage sales, right? And sometimes they come with unfinished stitches. So I've done some rehoming. Some of them I framed and put, like, they already came in frames, so they're just up on my wall. And some of them are just unfinished, like they're finished, but they're not fully finished. And I was like, I like them, but I don't know what to do with them. I gave them to Kaylee, and she made project bags for me. They're nice big ones. This one's like I love this little guy, but he had no margins for framing. Like, and that's coming from me. He had no margins. Like, I think there's like, I think Kaylee barely had enough to sew them onto this bag. Like, you almost can see the margins. So I love this because he's just a cute little kitty creeping through the greenery. This one wasn't as bad on the margins, but again, and I love what she did. So, like, she added this ribbon that mimics that. Like, and like, I literally, like with Kaylee, I just like literally was like, project bags, use your imagination. I just like, I will love it. And I do. And I would highly recommend Kaylee if you have things like this to make bags, because they're beautiful bags, they're roomy, and she's got a magical stash of fabric. Well, I was at my mom's house, my parents' house, a couple weekends ago. I was looking for something. My parents have moved 3 times in like the last just over 10 years, because they moved from Calgary to Portage, they moved again in Portage, and then they moved back to Alberta. And yeah, and so like they've done some decluttering things, and I was looking for a grade 6 art project, which is kind of ironic to think that my mom would still have it, but it was a nicely done grade 6 art project. And it was one of those things, like, it was displayed in her or my dad's office for years, so it wasn't one of those things that like would purposely get thrown out, if that makes sense, and like the level of art projects. So it's just misfiled somewhere and we just can't find it. But it was that, I think it was almost like the thing where you have the fabric and you press it into the foam. And I know it was a quilt block, and I can see it in my mind, and I wanted to find it because if they weren't displaying it, I was going to take it back for my displays, because it was nicely done, because like basically they pre-scored the lines and we just fitted fabric in, and like I had a good color palette at that one. And also it's kind of a craft project I've been kind of interested in doing again, so I kind of want to have that to, examine a little bit, do some detective work. Could not find it. Spent a lot of time digging around in under the stairs circle area. And then I also just started snooping through her craft supplies, and she had this kit, Tiny Teddies. It's older than me, and she's done nothing with it, so it's mine now. They're just Christmas ornaments. They're kind of cute. It's full color painted. He transferred. Yeah, it's just a different craft. I just want to try something new. Use the kit. I don't know when I'll do that, but it is on my list. And the very last bit is my friend Megan offered up some patterns that she was done with, and I feel really lucky because she was doing it like a random draw of like who was interested. I got 3. I did not expect to get 3, so that's thrown me for a loop on what I'm going to be doing. One is the Owl Forest, Dinosaur Forest. It's a big one. And that one is one I definitely, if I need to get done when my kids like dinosaurs, I will like dinosaurs, but like I want, for them to enjoy it too. I need to get started sooner rather than later. And so I need to figure out flossing fabric. It's a big one. So I'm thinking like 20 count or 22 count. Like I could do 40 count, right? But like I prefer 20 count just for my eyeballs, because it's a little bit easier to do 1/1 than 2/2. So I need to figure that out. I got Autumn Royalty. And this one I'm like, okay, these are little mini ones. I just, again, they're not too bad. Similar fabric. The biggest challenge is going to be the over dyed. Because Lindy Stitches uses a lot of Wheat Dye Works, and I know that's because Wheat Dye Works has a very generous designer floss program, I just don't use Week Dye Works. So it makes it hard to sometimes swap them. And the last one, also Winnie Stitches. This is one I've loved for a while. It's a Stars Bright, and it's just got the most beautiful quote. You know, we would be together and have our books, and at night be warm in our bed, together with the windows open and the stars bright. Like, I love that. That is, I mean, my partner's not much of a physical book reader, but like, this is, you know, this is so sweet, and I love it. And I really like the Granny Square Afghans because I feel like there's room to play there. So yeah, this is definitely another one I want to get going on. It's also a big old bad boy. Ooh. But I think I have the call for fabric, which is at least, well, I mean, not that you always have to use the call for fabric, but like if I have the call for fabric and stash that I'm not using for anything, like, why not? So yeah, this one actually might be a sooner start rather than later if I have the call for fabric in the right side. Because I know I think I stitched a little thing on it. That might be a sooner rather than later start. Okay. Yeah, so that was my haul. My phone is dying, so I'm not really gonna go too crazy with books I've read or like anything like that. I'm still very much on the Dutch and Carl hype train. I've read The Parade of Horribles. It was a bit of a slow start for me, but I appreciate it more in the second half. I'm trying to read Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman, but it's not catching me quite the same way. I'm dibble-dabbling in a few other books. Nothing has like grabbed my attention. I'm like, I'll read a few chapters and I'm like, meh, I'll read a few chapters, something else. The Libby book then gets returned on me, so I put a back hold on it. Because I don't dislike any of these books, but they're not catching me in and sucking me in. And it's very aimless. It's much like my stitching. Like, you know, I'm either like so sucked in and absorbed and it's all I'm doing, or I'm just like, meh, I'm bouncing around. Which is a problem, but it's fine. At least I'm still reading. All right. And that was me for the day. And I hope to see you all again sooner than the last time I did this. All right, bye.